Hi everyone, huge news today from RICS in that the new rules of conduct have been released. Now, before anybody who's about to sit their APC starts crying, the new rules of conduct will come into effect on the 2nd of February 2022. So APC Session 2 2021 existing rules of conduct will apply. There's a huge sea change with these rules of conduct in that the current system of having one set of rules of conduct for members and one set of rules of conduct for RICS regulated firms will be no more. There is one set of rules of conduct, and I could do a little heart sign of if I wanted. It has been up to consultation, and with all these things, many thanks to RICS for letting us, the members, contribute to our documents. And I both submitted my comments on it online and also had a telephone conversation with the person at RICS leading on this. So I did appreciate that, and it makes my membership feel really valuable. And as always, I say get involved in the consultation of RICS documents, because the more people who contribute, the better the end result will be. So the new rules of conduct, it is global. It applies to all members and all firms. I'm not going to go into huge detail today, but I will say this: our very affordable course on the ethics, rules of conduct and professionalism competency on Udemy, that will be updated for the 2nd of February 2022. Plus, no doubt I'll be releasing other videos. So the new rules of conduct is split into 5 parts. They're quite easy to understand, they're quite simple, and there's some example behaviours under it, which I think is quite useful. I'm going to go through all 5 behaviours. There's also an appendix. There's one appendix in this new rules of conduct which tells us how we need to deal with RICS and our relationship with RICS, which I think is very important. I do think the new rules of conduct are needed. I do like the way it encourages members to bring in sustainability, and especially what the president said last week on LinkedIn regarding sustainability. We're the leaders of ESG. We need to lead with this, because there's other professions that will take over. So ESG we need to lead with. There's good leanings towards inclusion and diversity for the profession, which can only be a positive. So I'm going to briefly go through all 5 of the new rules. Apologies, this is brand new. Literally got this 15 minutes ago. So I'm going to read it out to you. So rule 1, members and firms must be honest, act with integrity and comply with their professional obligations, including obligations to RICS. And this will include conflicts of interests, anti-bribery mechanisms, being transparent with fees. So, as well as members and firms must be honest, act with integrity and comply with professional obligations, that's the rule, but there's example behaviours below them. So it's really quite a self-reflective rules of conduct, which I think is, for such a technically and culturally diverse profession, I think it hits the right tone. Rule 2, members and firms must maintain their professional competence and ensure that services are provided by competent individuals who have the necessary expertise. I think this is key to being a chartered surveyor. I come across people who aren't chartered surveyors, and they will literally have a go at anything. They will, if they can earn a book out of it, they will have a stab at any work. And I think RICS, and I had this drummed into me when I did my APC. Do not act outside the limits of your competence, and know your limits of your competence. It's very important, this, and it includes subcontractors, reflection on work you've done, and again, they're in the example behaviours. Rule 3, members and firms must provide good quality and diligent services. And in the example behaviours, members and firms understand client needs and objectives before accepting any professional work. So it goes to the core values of our profession. Good quality and diligent services. It's the trust in our profession. Me personally, it says here, firms inform clients that they are regulated by RICS. So yes, in every document I send to a client, it does say that my firm is regulated by RICS. So yeah, example behaviours, I'm not going to go through them all now. This is a quick video just to outline the 5 new rules. Which brings me on to rule number 4. Members and firms must treat others with respect and encourage diversity and inclusion. And that is global. And it includes abusive labour practices, cooperation with other firms, and respect the rights of others and treat others with courtesy, which I'm hoping we all do. It is the norm of behaviour in the UK, which is good. It could get better. As a profession, we could get better, but it's really good. There's a specific rule. Members and firms must treat others with respect and encourage diversity and inclusion. Well done, RICS, for saying this in the global market. And finally, rule 5. Members and firms must act in the public interest, take responsibility for their actions, and act to prevent harm and maintain public confidence in the profession. We are the profession. We must maintain public confidence in our profession and act in the public interest, which goes right, it goes right back to the Royal Charter, does this, and take responsibility for our actions. And again, there's example behaviours. I'll go into these a later today, but please read them. But they are examples, and this is why it's quite interesting, this framework. Yes, there are specific rules that still apply, such as professional indemnity insurance, client money handling. They're still there. But these rules of conduct, don't forget, you've got many different technical pathways in a global market. So I think this is, I'm quite optimistic about these new rules of conduct. I really am. Which brings us on to Appendix A, our professional obligations to RICS. So ours meaning mine as a member and mine as somebody who's the responsible principal at an RICS firm. There's 7 of these, and I am going to read these out. Apologies, you know me, I don't like reading things out verbatim on our channel, but let me read them out. So the appendix sets out the core professional obligations for members and firms. So, the following professional obligations to RICS are mandatory for members. So, members must comply with CPD requirements of RICS. Members must cooperate with RICS. Members must promptly provide all information reasonably requested by the Standards and Regulation Board or those exercising delegated authority on its behalf. So, basically, if regulation come calling, you've got to respond to them because we work together. So this now is mandatory obligations for RICS regulated firms. I know a lot of people sitting in their APC don't work for RICS regulated firms, but you've still got to know this. So mandatory obligations for RICS regulated firms are: firms must publish a complaints handling procedure, which includes an alternative dispute resolution provider appointed by RICS, and maintain a complaints log. Firms must ensure that all previous and current professional work is covered by adequate and appropriate professional indemnity cover that meets the standards approved by RICS. Firms with sole principal, includes me, must make appropriate arrangements for their professional work to continue in the event of their incapacity, death, absence from, or inability to work, which is called a locum. Firms must cooperate with RICS. Firms must promptly provide all information reasonably required by the Standards and Regulation Board or those exercising delegated authority on their behalf. I've had a regulation audit in the past, random, and you answer the questions, and yeah, everything's fine. So if a regulated firm is asked to provide information by Standards and Regulation Board, you have to comply. Firms must display on their business literature, in accordance with RICS's published policy on designations, a designation to denote that they are regulated by RICS. And who wouldn't want to say that you're regulated by RICS. I'm very proud to run and work for a firm that is regulated by RICS, and it is on all our business literature. One, because we have to, but really because we want to. And finally, firms must report to RICS any other matter that they are required to report under the rules for registration for firms. And this can involve if you handle client money and how you report that to RICS, and the annual firm's return, which me, as a responsible principal for an RICS regulated firm, I've got to do every year. So there's the new Global Rules of Conduct from RICS, published October 2021. So well done to RICS for getting this done in a timely manner, especially during the pandemic. And they are effective from the 2nd of February 2022. People sitting APC Session 2 2021, be aware of this, but don't be expected to answer any specific questions on it, because the current rules of conduct still apply for both members and firms. So we've still got, at this time, we've still got two separate rules of conduct. 2nd of February 2022, new global rules of conduct for both members and firms. Wow, what a start to a Monday morning. What news to get, and I'm really going to enjoy getting under the skin of the example behaviours. Expect to hear lots about this. Anybody who's already signed up for our Udemy course on ethics, professionalism and rules of conduct, I will update the course materials. It will be the same course booking, but the new course will come on stream 2nd of February 2022, all being well. Thanks very much for watching. Please read these, please understand them. They matter to us, and they are what is important for us as professionals and as RICS professionals. Take care, everybody. Hope to see you soon, and goodbye.